two topics, name and age, or really build up for the last two topics, race and gender. Sometimes we want to do these cultural series where we want to address certain things that are hot button topics. Race and gender are two of those, but these two preliminary messages I think are very worthwhile to consider as well. So, the name of the series is Who Am I? Who am I? We need to know that. People are in a desperate search for the answer to that question. To find themselves, to find their voice, to find their identity, so they go searching. We talked about that last week where Stephanie Germanotta, who is Lady Gaga, and Miley Cyrus, who came from Hannah Montana, and Michael Jackson, all these guys are just in this quest to find their identity, to find who they are. And so they go looking frantically. And I think it's fueled by this notion that we all hear this idea that we have been made to be one of a kind. All of us are one of a kind, but who exactly is that? If I'm one of a kind, I have nothing to model my life after. Who exactly am I supposed to be? Who is this one of a kind person? So we go looking, frantically looking for personal identity. But I want to propose to you today that when you go looking, you don't have to go looking very far. Because we have been given, the emphasis is on given, we have been given 4 marks of identity: name, age, race, and gender. And they've all been assigned to you. They've all been given to you. So when you go looking for your identity, you don't have to go looking very far because God has already given us 4 marks of identity. And if you want to know who you are, you start by embracing these 4 things. Embrace your name. Embrace your age. Embrace your race. Embrace your gender. Your gender. These are boundaries that help give your life definition. So we're going to spend the next few weeks studying the boundaries of our life because they help us get a starting point in finding out who we are. Name, age, race, and gender. Last week we talked about name, how your name is a gift. It's been given to you, right? At birth, it's been given to you so that you would become knowable and memorable to point people to the name that is above every name. That was kind of the thesis of last week. This week we're going to look at age. Age. Your age is a gift. Name is a gift. Your age is a gift. Now we don't generally think this way because we are a little averse at the notion of growing older. The advancement of age is something that typically nobody likes to talk about. You've heard you've heard of the 7 stages of life. Spills, thrills, drills, bills, ills, pills, and wills. And you can kind of see the progression there. It's this downward progression. And this is a very dim view of the process of aging. No one wants to get old. However, the Bible strikes a different note entirely. It celebrates all ages, the Bible does. It celebrates the young and the old. Proverbs 20:29 says, "The glory of young men is their strength, and the splendor of old men is their gray hair." I mean, that's your glory. If you're a young man, your glory is your strength. If you're older and you have gray hair, that's a mark of wisdom and dignity, distinction. It's good. It's all good. If you're young, it's good. If you're old, it's good. The Bible celebrates that. Ecclesiastes 11:8 says, "People ought to enjoy every day of their lives." And in terms of what we're talking about today, a person should enjoy every year of their lives. To enjoy every age of their lives. Every age is to be enjoyed and to be embraced and to be celebrated. Now, I don't think we like age typically because we don't like change. I think we would prefer things to stay just as they are. But life never stays the same. Genesis 8:22 is a great statement of this idea that things do not stay the same. It says, as long as the earth remains, there will be springtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night. This is a reminder that things do not stay the same. There's a constant cycle of life. And this is a reminder that nothing stays the same. Everything undergoes change. And that is a very good thing. There's different seasons, different stages of life, and it's all good. So today we're going to explore the concept of age through this lens of seasons. We're going to use this as a metaphor to kind of guide our discussion today. We're going to go through the seasons of life as a metaphor for age. So life has seasons. Every season is a gift. Think about it, the spring of life. Okay, let's equate that with childhood. The summer of life would be equated with youth. The autumn of life would be equated with middle age. And then the winter of life with the later years. Can you imagine a year missing any one season? They're all so unique in such a good gift of God to us. So let's just move through these seasons and dialogue about what each season, which age of your life really can represent for you and for those around you. So the spring of life. The spring of life can be equated with childhood. I'd say just the first 20 years of your life. Springtime. If you think about spring comes on so slow, doesn't it? Spring begins like mid-March, March 20th or something like that. And it just like, it's all like mud. There's no definition to it. There's no beauty. It's just, and it starts slow. There's seed, and then there's sprout, and then there's bud, right? And then there's bloom. The first 9 months of gestation seems like it takes forever, right, Annie? It's just like, man, will this baby ever? You know, I remember the first time Audrey was pregnant, it's like it just took forever to get out of the first trimester. And this is, you know, and then finally the day of delivery comes, and then infancy lasts forever. I mean, when would they ever like start to have personality and start relating? Are they always just going to cry? Are they always going to eat? I mean, it's discouraging. Spring comes on so slow. But once it starts to get going, spring grows like gangbusters. I mean, you got the seed, you got the sprout, you got the bud, and then when it comes into bloom, oh, I mean, talk about a season of tenacious growth. That's what the season of spring is all about. That's what childhood is all about. It's just, there is just so much blooming and growing and color. Spring comes on, and boy, you got color, you got wonder, you got imagination, you got infectious laughter. Kids, you just have kids in the house like springtime. It's just, there's so much discovery and new things, and they have fresh ways of seeing things and phrasing things. I heard just the other day that there's a mother that had a little, this is just an example for how fresh kids see and think. This little toddler, like a 3-year-old toddler, was walking by his mother with a hammer in his hand, and the mother is like, oh, what are you going to go make? Noise. I mean, they're just so, yeah, okay, you go make some noise. Just don't break anything. Our son, our youngest, Elijah, he's still, we have like kept a little notebook of cute things that they say. And so I pulled it out on couple months ago and read them each their sections in this notebook of all the really clever things they came up with. And Elijah is still saying those kinds of things. Now, Victoria and Ezra, they're getting a little older, and when you get older, you lose that, but Elijah is still at that age. And so last year, we were going out to the coast. I'd like to do that sometime. And he says he was so excited to go out there and find sea money. And he batted his eyes a couple times. He said, sand dollars. Sand dollars. I was like, that's cute. I got to write that down. Sea money. We were driving by the dentist's office, and he saw the title, Gentle Dental. He says, Dad, that means they don't pull any teeth, right? Because they have to be gentle. Clever, son, clever. That's good, that's good. But kids are just like that, right? They just see things, and they're fresh and imaginative and free. Being a child means you have fresh eyes, fresh ears, fresh perspective. And you're also resilient. Aren't children just so, they're able to traverse and navigate issues and problems and challenges in life that some of us are adults. We crumble under because they have such this fresh perspective that helps them get over the hump. They have relatively little fear and relatively big faith. This is a season of spring. Being a teenager, I'd still fit within this, the first 20 years of your life. Being a teenager, man, you're like invincible. You're strong, you're healthy, you can eat anything. Your metabolism is so high, I'd sit down and eat a whole pie and not be affected. Your life is in full bloom. You are strong. You're the life of the party. You're the hope of tomorrow. But this season also brings a lot of rain, a lot of tears. I don't know if anybody cries more than they cry in the first 20 years of their life. I mean, it's just so much. You're just trying to communicate. There's frustration and just, but it's okay. Because it's the very thing that waters the ground and gives it the color. It's okay. I want to tell my kids, it's okay, it's good to cry. Never lose the ability to cry. Sometimes we do that later in life. I think it's a good day when you've had a good laugh and you have a good cry. Because you're just in touch with your emotions. And I hate it when I've grown detached from how I feel. Kids aren't like that. They know how they feel. And they're able to engage it. And that's a beautiful trait to always hold on to. So embrace this season. If you're 20 years and younger, embrace who you are. You're a child. Enjoy being a colorful kid with a lot of imagination. So the transition from spring to summer is so natural, isn't it? I mean, it just flows right into summer. There's no speed bump. There's no hiccup. You just flow right in. You're boom. You're there. All of a sudden, man, we got great days, sunshine. I mean, this is a season of excitement and abundance. Lots of abundance. If you think about it, the forest has undergrowth. The trees have fruit. The meadows have grass, and the garden beds have lots of veggies. I mean, it's the fruitful time of the year. This when you harvest, there's lots of fruit on the branches. The sun is shining. The prospects are bright. Things are exciting. I remember when I was 20 years old, coming into the sunshine of my life, the summer of my life. I remember I was going off to college. Just the feeling of new freedoms and the new opportunities. I was driving, just like Butch's grandson today is heading over to WSU. He's going off to college because he's on a basketball scholarship. He's probably about the same age I was, 20. I was 20 years old driving to Pullman. I remember that day driving on the campus and thinking, oh, man, look at this. I mean, a whole new vista opened up to me. I was like, this is opportunity, new people to meet, new things to study. It was in sunshine. I was so excited. This is the summer of life. When you're entering into the workforce, you're done with college, you get to do a new job, a new career, you get to earn money, work full time, yay. But you get a paycheck, right? You get to travel. This is a season of life. Typically, you can get married. The time you're having your first child, all these things are just like a whole new day. It's open to you, and it's so fun, so exciting. Being a young adult is a gift. You're in the prime of your life. Your mind is sharp, your body is strong, you're looking good. I remember I couldn't take a bad picture back in those days. I was so photogenic. Every picture, I'm like, that's a good picture. I can't snap a good picture anymore. I seriously can't. I snap pictures like selfies. I'm like, forget this. Looking bad. This is a season of fruitfulness. It's also the season, I'm having trouble with my mic. It's like fishing all around. Excuse me here. Okay. What's that? It's fishing. Yeah. Well, remember to go fishing today, guys. We got a pond of prizes out here. Summertime is also the season of intense heat. Sunshine brings heat. And I remember when I was a young man, and just, you just go through things. The heat gets put on you. School, I was so excited to show up to college. Man, that was one of the most stressful periods of my life. The adjustments and trying to figure out how to do well and the pressure. When I was first on my job and trying to figure out how to be a good employee, my bosses were on my case constantly. You didn't do this right. You forgot that. Just come back here, bringing me into the office. The heat. Get off my case. But this is a part of sunshine, a part of summer. There's rain in the spring, and there's heat in the summer. But it's a refining season. Anytime you experience heat, God is using that for your benefit. He's being productive in your life. It's not just haphazard or capricious. He has great intent. Anytime you refine something, anytime a potter takes a vessel, puts it into the fire, he doesn't put it in there to destroy it. He puts it in there to purify it, to refine it, to bring it to a state of completeness. So if you are in the summer of your life and you're experiencing a little heat, embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace this season and enjoy being a productive young adult. And so from the summer of life into the autumn of life is another smooth transition. It just kind of just naturally and all of a sudden you're in the autumn of your life. Let's just call this Middle Ages. Should go to that next slide. Look at that color. I think this is perhaps my favorite season in nature. The richness, the meaning, the color. You want to go inside, put a sweater on, get some hot apple cider, and it warms you up. That's what this season does. It's the autumn of life. It's beautiful. It's glorious. It's rich. It's full of meaning. This is what Middle Ages look like. This is the Middle Age part of life. It's beautiful. But it's also a season of decline. That's why trees are letting loose of their leaves and letting the seed fall back down to the ground. Kids are growing up. They're starting to leave home. Perhaps they're getting married. They're starting families. They're having children. I mean, it's a time of loss, a time of letting go and appreciating what's going to happen as a result of letting go. These are times of being diminished. But in the diminishing, there's this incredible enrichment. I think, too, this is also a time of loss of abilities. I can't go, climbing on the ninja course anymore. I can't do those kinds of things. I dislocate shoulders. I can't do that stuff. I got to think about these things now. You sometimes you lose your health, lose some parts of your energy. But with the loss comes this increased sense of compassion, ability to understand, wisdom. Your ministry takes on a depth in the season of life that you didn't have in the summer, and you certainly didn't have in the spring. But it comes with those losses along the way. Being middle-aged is a gift. Embrace the season. Embrace the losses. That's what produces the color. Enjoy the rich color, the rich meaning of what it means to be a middle-aged person. So you got the winter of life. From spring to summer, pretty smooth transition. From summer to fall, pretty smooth. I think this perhaps could be the most, you got to kind of gear up for winter. I've never been there. We can call this old age, right? But I assume you would have to transition into a season like winter. Now, the focus of winter shifts from the branches to the roots. Incredible life goes down into the roots. People who reach old age are incredibly rooted individuals. They know who they are. They're comfortable with themselves. They're even kinder to themselves. That's just what old age does to you, because all the life goes into the roots, and that person becomes very stable. When everything was all showy out before, now it doesn't have to be that for you to be content with what life is and with who you are. You have been rooted. I remember when I first arrived 3 years ago, I sat down with Arlen and Nancy. We were having a potluck, and we were enjoying some time getting to know each other, and I found out that at that time how long they had been married. I was like, wow. What's it like to be married that long? That is beautiful. And I remember Nancy said something to the effect of, well, we have become more comfortable with each other. I think that's a beautiful thing. Before you get married, you're so edgy and nervous and trying to figure out, trying to, it's a big game, and then finally get married, you're like, oh, thank God that's over. I don't have to do that. I don't have to impress. I don't, but you're still kind of, maybe jockeying for this and that and trying to, but after a big span of time together, if there's any sense of competitiveness there, no, we're good. We know each other. We're comfortable. We're stable. Our marriage is rooted. I know who I am. I don't demand too much of myself. And I'm not going to demand too much of you. I think those seasons, when you enter into the winter of your life, the life goes down into the roots. And since the focus has shifted from the branches to the roots, winter has a great way of clearing the landscape. You just see further. We have these trees in the back of our house, and in other season, man, there's just lots of foliage. You can't see through them. But during wintertime, man, you can see. Wow. So there's a path of vision that has been cleared that was not cleared before. So winter is a great time just to say, I have an immense ability to see. And since the life has gone down into the roots, really in preparation for spring, I think those who are in the spring and even in the summer of life can stand to hang around those who are in the winter of their life because they need to draw up on the wisdom that is in their root. And the older generation needs to realize they have experience to impart into the next generation, which is the spring of life. So there is a intimate connection between those who are in the winter and those who are in the spring. And that has to be alive in any church. That the people who are in the spring, 20 and younger, should be around those who are in their old age, and old age should be investing in those who are in the spring, because that's what the wisdom is there for, is to produce life in the spring. And that's what we've been talking about, the generational connection. That's why it's so critical for those who are in the winter to have time with those who are in the spring. That's the purpose of having life in the roots. So if you're in the winter of your life, embrace the season. You're providing your community with rooting. Every church ought to have those who are in the winter because it's the root. We need the root. You're providing your community with rooting and a clearer path of vision for the rest of us. Enjoy who you are. Embrace who you are, and embrace the season that God has you in. Which are the most beautiful seasons? You can just look at that next slide. Which one's most beautiful? I think they all are. Every single stage and season of life that you're in, it's a gift of God. You know, I was talking to a neighbor. I think it was just yesterday. We're talking about our kids. His kids are really young, and my kids are a little older, but still young in the home. And he was talking about, how, the days seem so long, but the years seem so short. Isn't that true? You go through life day in, day out. You're in the trenches. You're in the trenches. You're just, oh man, it's just, when your kids are really little, it just takes a long time, day in, day out. But, man, you look back, it's like, where has time gone? My girl has 3 years left before she's 18. I don't know how to process that. I mean, it's just going so fast. You look back, day in, day out, it goes so slow. But you look back, it's like, where is the time going? And to close our time today, I want to take you to Psalm 90. Psalm 90, verse 12. I love this whole, actually, if you wanted to take a psalm and call it the Psalm of Time, read the entire chapter of Psalm 90 and get a good, godly perspective of what God thinks of time. But I'm just going to close our time this morning with one verse, verse 12, and it's this. Teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Another translation says, teach us to realize the brevity of life. Help us to interpret our lives correctly. Today we have been considering this business of numbering our days. And we do that in years. And we call it an age. I'm 49 years old. I'm on my 50th trip around the sun. We all need to take stock and to take note. I'm such and such an age. This is a gift, an immense gift of God. It's in the hope that we will discover who we are. You don't need to go looking very far. Name, age, race, and gender. I am Demetrius. I am 49 years old. And I need to embrace who I am. And I need to embrace the time of life that God has given me. I'm 49 years old, and I'm going to embrace the season that He has me in. In order to know who you are, you got to know your place in time. And in order to know your place in time, you got to know, ultimately, the God of time. Otherwise, time has no context. These 4 seasons are only preparation for the endless seasons of eternity. In this life, you only get 4 if you're blessed. You only get 4, but this is just preparation for the endless seasons that God has out in store for us. Seasons that don't look anything like the seasons that we've experienced in this life. And seasons I don't think that will repeat themselves in eternity. We have so much to look forward to. It's called the hope of everlasting life, and you can't know that without knowing the God of time. And that can't be done without knowing Jesus. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and life. No man comes to who? The Father. But through me. We sang this morning, and you can go ahead and come back up here. We sang this morning about we have a good Father. And he knows how to take care of his children no matter the season of life that you find yourself in. If you are in the winter of life, you are still his child. And he will never let you down, right? He will never drop you. He has your interests in mind. So with this last song, I would like for us to connect with our dad. Okay, this is Father's Day. And we're going to all celebrate dads today. And if you have if a father has passed on, I'm sure you can take time to have a time of prayer and thanking God for the father that he's given you. But we have a good father who far exceeds any father we've ever known here on earth. He is faithful. He is loyal. He is steadfast. And for this last song, can we stand and just connect with our daddy, God, and then appreciate the fact that he has given us an amazing identity. Name, age, race, and gender.